Sintike as the second speaker from the council.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I will be furthering the arguments for the proposition side of the table and telling you why we believe that London should become an independent state. I have two main points today, which is the first one, the uniqueness of London, and the second one about the positive incentive for other cities. But before I start with my substantial arguments, I'd like to deal with a few of the ideas that have been told to you by the previous speaker. Firstly, there is a big difference between permanent members of the UN Security Council and rotating members, and small countries such as Malta and perhaps London may become rotating members of this council, which is still an important, significant seat that could be gained within the UN Security Council. And another thing is, he told us about this, that London would be breaking an implicit contract between regions and London made. But we like to call this tough love on this side of the table. There comes a point where you have to kick your child out of your house. There comes a point where you have to tell somebody that they're going to have to start doing things by themselves. And this isn't breaking a contract. Decline. Going on now, we go on to my first point, which is the uniqueness of London. In no other city in the world do you get the sort of multicultural sort of society that you get in London. Walk down the streets of London and you'll be assaulted with smells, tastes, sights, different things coming from different parts of the world. You may be in Chinatown one minute and then you may be somewhere else, and you may be there in India or somewhere else. There's so many different cultures within this country, and it's amazing how all these different cultures manage to live in perfect harmony, well, most of the time. And also, in London, there's tolerance and social interaction, which is different from any other place in the United Kingdom. I'll take your point.
Presumably, we should be trying to promote that unity within the country, not just keeping it within London.
No, sir, that's not at all what we're trying to do. We're just trying to highlight the fact that this sort of thing, at the moment, is only prominent within London, and by separating London, we're keeping this sort of thing, we're keeping it where it's successful, because we don't think that sort of thing could be successful in other places, in other regions, as I was saying. And London has the highest demographic of people. London has the highest concentration of people in the UK, and I think it should be fair that we can have an independent state. And also, the difference between London and other regions within the UK is the nature of crime, the nature of the interaction, as I've previously mentioned. We have an influx of youth crime and gun crime within London, which is unique to London. And I believe by having an independent state, we'll be allowing these problems to be dealt with more specifically on a more focused basis, which is effective and better for London and better for the UK in general. Also, historically, Londoners have been proven to be very pushed together due to circumstances. An example of this is the 7/7 bombings that occurred in London. Other parts of London weren't really directly faced with this problem. They didn't have to deal with the onslaught of the terrorist attacks, which means that Londoners have a unique bond between each other, which can be propagated by allowing them to have an independent state. I'll take your point.
Because I identify myself proudly as coming from Stoke-on-Trent, am I denied the opportunity to say that I'm also British and have a national identity as well?
The national identity will still be upkept by having London as an independent state, but as I was trying to highlight, is the fact that there is a slight difference between London, the nature of Londoners, and the nature of other countries and other people who live within London. And also, these similarities between Londoners forces them to transcend racial barriers. An example of this, another example, the main example, is the Olympic bid. Ladies and gentlemen, when London received the 2012 Olympics, you didn't see pictures of people in Manchester hugging and throwing beers at each other. You saw pictures of people in London doing so. And it just proves that Londoners have a sense of harmony between them that isn't evident with other parts of the country. Not much people from Stoke-on-Trent may have cared about the Olympic League, whereas people from London did. I'm going on to my second point, which is the positive incentive for other cities. As I've previously mentioned about the point about tough love, by making London an independent state, we're giving other countries, cities within the UK, the incentive to become self-reliant and building up their own industries, and not only relying on London's capital injections that come within London. What have I told you today? I've told you about the uniqueness of London, and I've told you about the positive incentive for other cities. And for these reasons, it's clearly evident that London should become an independent state.